everyone. My name is Jason.
And I'm Lorraine.
And this is the Sow the Land podcast. This is our 5th podcast that we're doing. And if you are just tuning in, we are also YouTubing this podcast. And usually the YouTube videos that we post of this podcast, usually we don't post those to maybe like a few days after we actually post the podcast on different podcasting.
In this week's episode, we are going to be talking about the difficulties we are faced in gardening.
Yeah, it was a question that we had. Before we answer that question, let's talk about what we did this week.
Yeah. What did you do this week?
I'm still building Justin and Rebecca's greenhouse. And so this week, I actually built their greenhouse door. And they wanted to do a Dutch door. And a Dutch door is where it opens up. It's like kind of split in the middle. And so it has 4 hinges on it. And so like the top opens up and then the bottom can open up separately. So, I mean, this is for, when the bottom is closed, you could still open the top. And it can still let air flow in, and then it can also keep out the chickens.
Right, that's a great design. Did you come up with this design?
No, this is something that they thought of and they thought might be a good door to put on, rather than just a regular closed door. And also, I used the same plastic that I used for the roof on the greenhouse, so you can actually see through the door also, which I think is a cool feature. But yeah, I think this is a perfect door for a greenhouse.
Yeah, and you're documenting this build.
Yes, I shot video of me building the door. I have still to edit that video. But yeah, I'm documenting what I'm doing, and even Justin's documenting what he's doing. So I think it's kind of neat seeing the different
perspectives.
Yeah. Like my perspective on building the greenhouse, and then you see Justin's perspective on me building the greenhouse. So like he's going about his day doing his thing, and I'm building the greenhouse. And so if you see some of those videos that I'm doing of the greenhouse, you can see Justin coming in every once in a while and with a camera, and he's filming. And so I think it's kind of neat to see that it's like two different set of eyes. Like I think that's pretty neat that we're both kind of doing it at the same time. But yeah, almost done with the greenhouse. We're waiting on some vents that they had ordered, and there'll be some vents on the front and the back side. So we're kind of at a standstill on it right now, but as soon as the vents get in, I want to go back out there, and hopefully I can finish this greenhouse. What else did we do today, or this week? We shot a video of we planted tomatoes, or tomato seeds, in our greenhouse. So me and Penelope went out there, and this is something we probably should have planted tomato seeds probably like at least a couple weeks ago, but we finally got out there.
I don't think it's too late.
No,
Yeah,
I think it'd be fine. But so yeah, it's fun to that Penelope, she wants to get her hands dirty, and like I think she's like a pro now.
Yeah, she knows what to do.
Like she knows, like, okay, I don't have to like say this is what we're gonna do now. She's just like, okay, she just grabs the tools, and like she already knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to see that. Like she knows like how many seeds to plant. Like she knows where all the seeds are at. Like the soil, and like so it's pretty neat to that she's growing up and like she figured all that out. I mean, she's always been around the garden. So
we got the tomato seeds planted in seed starter trays in the greenhouse. It's a little too early to put them in the ground, but they're in the greenhouse, so I think they'll do well.
Yeah, this is the first time we're actually doing the podcast in the morning.
Woo! We're alive and awake.
We're like, I'm drinking coffee. Usually, the past, like, all these podcast episodes that we've done, it's like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes at midnight, and, like, we're just kind of, it's already at the end of the day, and we're just a little bit tired.
Yeah.
But I was like, we need to do it in the morning. But so this is kind of a
new experience for us.
Yeah, do it during the day.
Yeah. And so also another thing that you did this week was you dropped off our plant presses.
Yes.
At So True Seed.
Yes, I had made a bunch of plant presses. And plant presses, I mean, I had a few people contact me, hey, what's a plant press? And a plant press is basically two pieces of wood with cardboard in the middle, and then you sandwich like, say, a plant or a flower, maybe that you want to preserve, and you let it you smash it between the two pieces of wood, and it'll dry flat. So then, I mean, you make, like, say, books out of them, right?
Yeah, it pretty much allows the flower or the plant to dry flattened, and then that's a way of preserving it, and then you can use it for stationery. We've done lots of birthday cards, thank you cards with some of our pressed flowers on them. I've seen some people do jewelry. You can make bookmarkers, or one thing that we like doing is making a book for ourselves to kind of reference back, and we can properly identify and label that plant or flower, and then look back at it. And then, what's even great is if we put the date too. So we can know, because I mean, when we moved out here, we saw so many flowers blooming, and we were like, this is beautiful. And we weren't sure when we would ever see them again. So the next year we were able to look back at our book and be like, oh, well, it's March. The violets are starting to come out. We should look for these. And so it was a great, like, record keeping kind of journal. And it's just a great thing to start, like a commonplace book, and, just kind of glue them in the book and have this great little book to reference back.
Yeah. So I think it was a perfect fit for, I dropped off a handful of plant presses at So True Seed. And So True Seed is a local, they're a garden store here in Asheville. And, they have, it's just like they're like such a wealth of knowledge for this area as far as what to grow. I mean, the whole staff there is super knowledgeable on all these things. And, they sell seeds, they sell books and all these gardening tools, and, like, really cool place. And so I thought it was a pretty perfect fit for them to carry our plant presses there. So I'm pretty excited about that. So if you're in the local Asheville area, you could buy our plant presses at So True Seed.
And if you're not local, you can find the plant presses also on our website as well. And they make great gifts. And if you're a homeschooling family, I highly recommend the plant press. It's such a beautiful thing to see the children, harvesting plants and flowers from your own property or somewhere that's allowable, and preserving them and getting to look at them and save them, and just, making a book. So they make great gifts too.
Yeah. And then another thing, we have our own shop, our shop space in Asheville. We rent out a small shop space at it's actually inside Atomic Furnishing and Design, and this is also in Asheville. And so I recently I try to update our shop, at least once or twice a week, and this week I made some end tables. So I finally finished the end tables, and so I dropped those off this week. And then you can also find our plant presses there at our shop. In that shop space, there's other local artists, local makers, just a really cool community space that we belong to there. And we've also met a lot of some people that follow us on YouTube there, and just really cool spot that I'm super thankful that we have a space there.
Yeah, it's been a great place to meet up with people.
Yeah, definitely.
Like some people that, follow our YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram, and they'll be there purchasing our stuff, and it's great to like meet up, even if they, like purchase something that's custom order.
Yeah.
You can just say, I'll meet you at the shop.
Yeah.
And
Definitely, that's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of meetup, we are going to be part of a local meetup here in Western North Carolina. So if you happen to be going to the Mother Earth News Fair, we're going to be hosting a meetup along with Justin and Rebecca Rhodes from the Abundant Permaculture channel on YouTube, and Art and Bree, Farm Life Outfitters, and the Holler Homestead will also be there. So all 5 families are going to be getting together and hosting a meetup. And what's the date?
April 26th.
That's a Friday, April 26th. And it's the Friday before Mother Earth News Fair. So if you happen to be traveling in town for the Mother Earth News Fair, this is a great opportunity to say hello to us and to say hello to our friends and just kind of hang out. It's just going to be like a hangout.
Yeah, I think this is the first time a bunch of us kind of got together and decided, hey, let's do a meetup. So I think this should be fun. We'll post, and I'm sure everyone else will, but we'll all post
more details.
Yeah, more details later as it gets closer to the event, hopefully soon. But yeah, it's April 26th, so if you're in the area or if you plan on going to Mother Earth News Fair in Asheville, it's going to be near that event also. So yeah, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we're super excited about it.
Yeah, that should be fun.
To meet everybody.
So let's talk about the question that we got from one of our podcast listeners. And this was a gardening question. I think this is a pretty good question.
It's a 2-part question, and she asked, when gardening, what do you do when it's really hot? And how do you push through the mundane and difficulties faced in gardening? That's a good question.
Yeah, I think people, sometimes it does get hot.
Well, in California, we gardened a little bit in California.
Yeah, but even here too sometimes. I mean, it gets more humid here. But I don't think it's that unbearable where we're at.
Right.
Because we're in the mountains, so it's not as bad as down below. But I think for the hot question, what do we do to help that? I think it's really get out there early.
Yeah, just get out there before the sun is really hot, and just start your day early. Get out there. I mean, I know there's so many things that you have to do in a day. Maybe you can just kind of shift around your priorities and get out there, do what you can in the morning. And then another thing is to get out there, after 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, when the sun is starting to set, and do another part of your work there.
Yeah, and when I was working at a local farm here at Root Bottom Farm, and I did a work trade there for, I think it was like 5 months. And that was like in the spring and summer, and so it was hot. But these guys are a couple, and they've been farming for 6 years in this area. And they're going to farmers markets, they're doing CSAs. I mean, they're farming. They're doing a really good job at it. And so what they do is, in the summer, they break up their schedule. So they'll get out there as soon as the sun's coming up. They're out there in the garden, on the farm. They're harvesting vegetables, they're pulling weeds, whatever it is that they need to do that day. They're getting out there, as soon as that sun is coming up, and they're out there till about, say, noon. And so from like noon to, say, 4, they're pretty much not really doing anything, because it is hot. and they just don't want to burn out. They don't want to be in the humid, because it's, it's work, and it's, it's not all fun. Especially if you're, doing it at a large scale like them. But so that's how they do it. I mean, they break up their day. In the morning they'll get out there in the morning when it's cooler, and then around noon they'll stop and go back out there around 5 o'clock, maybe after dinner, and continue their work. And so I think that's a good way of dealing with the hot and the humid. And
I think that's a great schedule.
Yeah.
I think we should implement that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because I know that sometimes, and this kind of goes with the question, the second part of the question, the difficulties faced in gardening. I know for myself, like some of the difficulties is, I have so much work to do inside the house. Like it's hard for me to get out there and go pull weeds every morning, or rearrange things, or string up tomatoes, or whatever. It's hard for me to get out there because I want to be out there all day. But if, I feel like that's the answer. Like if you have yourself on this little schedule of like, I'm going to be outside early in the morning until about, what did you say? Noon. Well, I can have that schedule, and then I can come back in and do homeschool and prepare food and that kind of thing, and then don't come back out there until after we've eaten dinner. So I think that's a really good schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I think to battle that, I guess gardening can be a little bit difficult, and it can be more repetitive and mundane. I mean, this is the question that she had. Mm-hmm. How do you help with the mundane of gardening? And yeah, I think maybe not a whole lot of people talk about that. I think what can help is setting maybe a block of time. Like you said, like say in the morning from this time, maybe an hour a day or 2 hours a day, I'm going to be gardening. And I think what also can help is maybe listen to some music while you garden.
That's true. Bring out some headphones.
Yeah, or listen to a podcast while you garden. Throw on some headphones and just like zone out with some music and podcast or whatever, and or maybe a book in audio form, and take care of business in the garden. Yeah. I think that could help. I think I don't really do that.
No, I think because we're all out there usually together, so we're all having conversation. But I imagine like if somebody was to go out there by themselves, that would be a very helpful piece of advice to put on some headphones and listen to something while you work.
Yeah, I think that will battle the mundane of it, because you're like, I get to listen to, say, this music or this podcast that I've been wanting to listen to. I'm going to go out there and garden, and this podcast is maybe an hour, and so for that entire podcast I'm going to be out in the garden. That's what I'm doing. And so I think that can be exciting.
Yeah, it is kind of challenging to talk about gardening being mundane right now after we just came out of winter. Like I am so jazzed about getting out there and gardening. Yeah. Like you almost forget, like, okay, once you're in the thick of it, midsummer, and you're pulling weeds, like that could be, I can remember, okay, yeah, that part of gardening is mundane.
Yeah, maybe towards the end of summer.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of gets like, oh, there's so many weeds.
Yeah, the weeds, and, there's bugs, and you have to go out there and squash all the bugs. Like those things could be mundane and difficult. But I have to say that I'm really excited about gardening right now. Like I'm just like, I can't wait till warmer weather. We get the seeds planted, and then when you start seeing the little sprouts, like that's so exciting. Yeah,
it's hard to think the mundane, I think, for us. Even when it is like towards the end of summer, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. All the bug pressure, all the weeds, but then I think about, well, in a few months, we're not going to have a garden.
Right.
And then we're going to be sad.
Yeah.
We're not going to have all this awesome food that we're harvesting in the winter, but so then I think about, okay, just take it for what it is, and just enjoy it, enjoy those bugs, enjoy that weeds and the weed pressure.
Yeah, and all that life that's going on in the garden. It's a beautiful thing.
Definitely. So I think that takes care of that question.
Yeah.
I hope we answered that right.
Yeah, I think so. Those are some really good helpful tips.
And another thing that we are starting to see, we're starting to get posts on our t-shirts, our Sow the Land t-shirts. If you're watching our YouTube channel, I'm wearing it right now. Which it says grow food, build stuff, repeat. And then the bottom it says Sow the Land, Homestead. So we had these t-shirts available, I think it was like last month. And so just now, people are starting to receive their t-shirts in the mail. And we're starting to see pictures, and people are sending us messages saying, hey, we got our t-shirts. And so I think that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. I want to say thank you to everyone who bought a t-shirt.
Yeah, and if you bought a t-shirt, and if you put a post on Instagram or Facebook, make sure you tag us on that post.
Yeah, or you can email us your picture.
Or email us a picture.
Yeah.
I just want to see maybe with the shirt on, or maybe you guys out building stuff or in the garden. I think that would be cool to see. We hope to have another round of these t-shirts available, hopefully in the summer.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be good. We had over 40 people buy t-shirts from us, and I think that was really great. And this the first time we had offered a Sow the Land t-shirt. And that's kind of been our motto, the grow food, build stuff. Yeah. That's pretty much what we've been doing since we moved here.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to have some lighter summer colors available in our next round. Because these were like winter colors that we chose, and it'd be good to have some lighter colors.
Yeah, because it's starting to be short sleeve season.
Yeah, I know. Thankful for that.
I'm all about the long sleeves, but okay, it's time to let those arms breathe.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that it concludes our podcast for this week. I just thought we'd throw it out there, but if anybody wants to sponsor our Sow the Land podcast, shoot us an email at hello.sowtheland@gmail.com. I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity to get your business, give your business a little shout out.
Yeah, if you're a small business, whatever, just, if that's something you'd be interested in doing.
Yeah, shoot us an email to find out more information on what it takes for sponsorship for our podcast.
Yeah, and also, if you have any questions for our next podcast or future podcasts, also shoot us an email or message us on Facebook at Sow the Land, and or Instagram. You can message us through there also. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can comment a question, and we may answer it on our podcast.
I want to thank everyone for listening and watching. We hope you have a great week.